Are you feeling totally buried under a mountain of ESG regulations? If you are, you're definitely not alone. The world of compliance can feel like a tangled mess, but what if I told you there's a much smarter way to get through it? Today, we're going to untangle that mess and show you a clear path forward. So, does this look familiar? CSRD, ISSB, the SEC, it's a real alphabet soup of mandates, right? And it feels like every single one demands something just a little bit different. It is so easy to feel like you're drowning in paperwork, and honestly, it's a massive headache for companies everywhere. But here's the big idea, the secret a lot of people miss. What if the problem isn't actually the regulations, but the way we're approaching them? You see, most companies get stuck in that trap on the left, this tangled web of chasing each framework one by one. The strategic move, the smart play, is what you see on the right, building one powerful central system that can satisfy all of them. So let's start by breaking down the trap that so many fall into. Okay, so let's dig into this trap. It all starts with a simple but really flawed assumption about where ESG is supposed to live inside a company. And this right here, this is where it all goes wrong. We treat ESG like it's running on a completely separate track from finance. And that right there is what creates all the internal chaos. You've got one team over here scrambling for sustainability data, another team over there handling the financials, and they're using different systems, different controls. And what's the result? A ton of wasted effort, messy data, and just endless confusion. It's a system that just cannot scale. So to get out of that trap, it takes more than a new tool. It takes a fundamental shift in mindset. It's all about really understanding the actual goal behind all these different regulations. This quote, "This is the key that unlocks everything." You see, the CSRD, the ISSB, the SEC, they're not actually trying to make your life more difficult. Believe it or not, they're all pushing for the exact same thing: standardized, comparable, and genuinely useful data. The moment you realize the goal is consistency, not duplication, the entire game changes. So the takeaway is this: stop trying to build a separate car for every single regulatory race. It's exhausting and inefficient. Instead, what you need to do is focus on building one high-performance engine, a single, unified internal system for your data and your controls. That one engine can then power your disclosures for any framework you need, whether it's CSRD today, ISSB tomorrow, or whatever comes next. All right, so that sounds great, but how do we actually build this unified engine? Now, this isn't about running out and buying some magical new piece of software. It's about fundamentally redesigning your internal processes. Let's walk through the blueprint. So it really breaks down into 4 core steps. First, you map the data you need to its real owners. Your emissions data, that comes from operations. Employee safety data, that's with HR. See, this isn't a job for some siloed sustainability department. It's owned by the entire organization. Second, you establish financial-grade controls. We'll get to what that means in a sec. Third, you integrate this into the systems you already use, your core business software. And finally, and this is crucial, you enable your supply chain with support and tools, not just a list of demands. And if you want to know just how serious this needs to be, this quote right here just nails it. We are talking about applying the same level of rigor that public companies use for their mandatory financial reporting, SOX controls. Trust me, when you tell a CFO that your ESG data has the same discipline as your financial data, their ears perk up. They get it immediately. It's all about creating a system that is absolutely 100% auditable. And to get that level of rigor, you need something called data lineage. It might sound a little technical, but the concept is actually incredibly simple. It just means you have to be able to trace every single number in your final report all the way back to its source. Where did it come from? Who signed off on it? How was it calculated? You know that messy spreadsheet you're probably using right now? Yeah, that is not going to cut it when the auditors show up. So what does this traceability actually look like? Well, it all starts at the origin, the raw, verifiable source of the data. Think of an IoT sensor on a machine tracking its energy use, or a specific invoice from a supplier. That's your starting point. From there, that raw data moves to the next stage. It's processed through a documented, approved methodology. Every single calculation, every assumption is recorded, and there's a clear sign-off process, exactly like you would handle your most important financial data. And that clear, transparent path leads directly to an auditable disclosure. So when an auditor points to a number and asks, "Where did this come from?" you can show them the entire journey, from that sensor to the calculation, right to the final report. That is an assurance-grade system. Now look, building this system is work. There's no doubt about it. But the payoff? The payoff goes so far beyond just ticking a compliance box. This is where building it right becomes a source of real, tangible competitive advantage. When compliance stops being a frantic, last-minute project and instead becomes an automatic outcome of your daily operations, well, everything changes. You get incredible operational efficiencies because your managers are tracking emissions the same way they track product yield. You get proactive risk management because you can spot issues in your supply chain way before they blow up into a crisis. It all comes together to build a stronger business and deeper trust with your partners, your customers, everyone. And this is the ultimate goal. Sustainability and finance are no longer two separate conversations happening in different rooms. They converge into one. Your ESG data is governed with the exact same discipline as your financial data. And your reports? They stop being this crazy project to chase down numbers, and instead, they become a simple reflection of a business that you already understand and control. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought to reflect on for your own organization. Is your ESG strategy really just about creating a report? Or is it about fundamentally building a more efficient, more transparent, and more resilient business? Because the companies that choose the latter, those are the ones that are going to lead in the decade ahead.